Hi everyone. In today's video, we are going to go over the newly introduced concept of semantic modeler in Oracle Analytics Cloud. So now this feature of semantic modeler is not yet enabled in Oracle Analytics Server. It is only visible in Oracle Analytics Cloud. Even in Oracle Analytics Cloud, you need to go and enable the feature to start using it. So semantic modeler is a web-based UI interface, which is a substitute for OBI admin tool. So whatever we used to do so far, the data modeling or RPD modeling in the admin tool, the same can be done in this UI, which is a web-based UI. How it can be achieved is something that we are going to discuss in today's video. So as you can see on my screen, this is a OAC homepage. You can see here there is an option enabled semantic models. So what happens is when you provision OAC, this option is not visible automatically. To enable this, you need to go to console. In the console, you have to go to system settings. In the system settings on the left hand side, you will see an option as preview. Here you see preview semantic modeler. Now this option is automatically disabled as you can see the above two options. What you need to do is you need to enable this option, and it takes around 5 to 10 minutes for it to be enabled. What I have done is, in the interest of time, I have already done this step, and that is the precise reason why you see this option as semantic models enable here. Once you enable it, once you will have to re-log in once you enable that option. Once you re-log in and you see this option, click on semantic models. So I have already created some dummy semantic model here. What we are going to do, we are going to create a new one from the scratch. So let's click on create, and I'm going to select semantic model. I'm going to give the name as sales. I'm giving the name as sales because we are going to create a star schema around the sales data. So I have three dimension tables in my ADW database, which are location, customer, and product, and they are tied to my sales fact. That is why I'm renaming or I'm creating a semantic model with the name as sales. I'm clicking on create. Okay, the page is loading. Now you see four options here. What it tells is the first option tells you to start creating everything from the scratch, that is empty model. Second one is if you have a RPD, you import it and do some changes in that. The third is you load it from the analytics server. And the last one is clone a Git repository. So one of the new feature that is introduced is synchronization with the Git repository. So whatever semantic model you build, you can synchronize it with the Git repository. And if you want to migrate the same, you can basically do a push-pull mechanism into a new environment so that you don't need to migrate the same things from the scratch. So how it would help is, let's say you have created a semantic model in your dev environment, you synced it up with your Git repository. Now you have to deploy it in your UAT environment or the test environment. So what you do is you sync your test environment with the same Git repository and basically push the data from the Git repository to your test environment, so that you don't need to start building something from the scratch in your test environment or UAT environment. So this is where this synchronization with the Git is very helpful. So as part of today's video, we are going to start creating a semantic model from the scratch. So I'm selecting start with empty model. Now you see four options on the left hand side top corner here. So the first one is basically your connection. The second one is your physical layer. The third one is your logical layer. And the last one is your presentation layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to import the tables from my database into a physical layer. So in my ADW under the admin schema, let's go and import the tables. So I have these four tables, customer dimension, location dimension, product dimension, and sales fact. So I'm just going to select and drag it into the table section on my right hand side. Let's see how much time it takes for it to come to the left hand side under the table section. The process is still running, as you can see from this bar over here. Okay. So all these four tables are imported. Now there are certain properties you see over here. These are the same properties that you would see in your physical layer in the RPD. So in the advanced tab, you see all the properties that are there at the connection pool level. Then you have a connection pool and the query limit options. So I have imported the tables now. Let's go to the physical layer. I'm clicking on this physical layer option, and under the admin, now I see only the tables that I have imported. Now the next step, the same way we do in our RPD physical layer, is creating an alias. So let's create an alias of the dimension. I have right click on it and create physical table alias. So I'm going to name it as dim customer. Okay. Similarly, dim location. For the product, I'm renaming it as dim product. And lastly, for the sales, I'm creating an alias like fact sales. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to create the physical joints, that is the physical diagram. So I'm going to select the aliases that we have created, right click on it, show physical diagram, selected tables only. And as you can see, there is no connection between the fact and the dimension right now. So let's start setting up the physical layer. So here the relationship is many to one. So basically one record in your dimension is equivalent to multiple records in your fact. Let's give the condition between the fact and dimension here. So because I'm joining to location dimension, so my location width of fact will be equal to row width of location dimension. If you want to use a join expression, you have to select this option. If you want to apply a hint at the join level, you can select this option and give the required hint. I'm clicking on add. Similarly, let's connect customer width to the row width of my customer dimension. And let's join product width of my fact to the row width of the product dimension. So my physical diagram is set now. So I'm clicking on the save button. So the semantic model is successfully saved now. Now, once the physical diagram is created, let's go to the logical layer. In the logical layer, so before moving to the logical layer, generally what we do even in RPD is we drag the physical diagram from the physical layer into the logical layer, and then we rename the columns, right? We use a rename wizard that is there. That is the option that is available in the logical layer. Now, how that renaming will happen in this semantic modeler? So you have to right click on this hamburger bar over here and click on preferences. In the preferences, click on logical layer and select an appropriate option like rename tables and columns. And then you have to give certain actions. So what I have done is I have already given these rename actions that all column names you move it to lowercase and then change underscore to space and make it initial as capitals. Click on cancel. Let me select whether this is enabled. Preferences. Okay. Logical layer. Let me enable this. Okay. And click apply. Your preferences were saved. Let's go back and check it again. Okay, looks good. Now in the logical layer, I'm going to create a business model. I'll name it as sales only. And then I'm going to add my facts and dimensions into respective sections on the right hand side. So let me add dimension, dim customer, dim location, and dim product into the dimension section, and sales into the fact section. So as you can see here, okay, they got, let me try to delete it because it is added. Okay, location is only once, product is only once, customer I'm adding again. Okay, so now on the right hand side of your screen, you already, the moment I added the facts and dimensions, the joins are automatically visible. If you still want to confirm whether the BMM diagram is automatically created or not, what you can do is go to BMM section here and you click on your fact, show logical diagram, selected tables and direct joins. And as you can see, your fact is joined to all your dimensions in the logical layer as well. In case the requirement demands you to add a lookup table, you can go to lookup table and add the lookup table as well. For this demo, I'm not going to add any lookup table. Now my logical diagram or the logical layer is created. Now let's see whether the columns are renamed or not. So as you can see, my columns are automatically renamed in the logical layer. How it happened is, it is because of the preferences that we set. If you want to change something, like for example, if you see width is coming in init caps. If you want this width to be appeared as all caps, you can set the required action in the preferences layer. Once it is done, the next step is basically to drag it into the presentation layer. Now let's go to the presentation layer. It is blank right now. Okay, before even moving to the presentation layer, another thing we can discuss is how to create hierarchies. So what I have done is, in the logical layer, I have clicked on the dimension dim customer. Now you see different options here like columns, joins, sources, hierarchy, data filter. Let's go to hierarchy. Right now, there is no hierarchy created on the dim customer. If you want to create let's say level-based hierarchy or a parent-child hierarchy, or whether it is a time hierarchy that is based on the time dimension, you select that appropriate option. For now, because I don't have any parent-child hierarchy setup, or I don't even have a time dimension, I'm going to select level-based hierarchy. So I have selected level-based hierarchies. I'm going to select this required option of skip level and drag level. These are not mandatory. Depending on the nature of the data in your dimension, you have to decide whether you need to select skip level, drag level, or both. I'm going to rename this hierarchy name as customer. And I'm going to keep the total and the detail as it is. If you see, the primary key and the display key are automatically selected. Now for my customer, I don't want my display key to be row width, so I'm going to select customer name, and associated columns are automatically tagged. Let me save this one. Okay. Similarly, let's try creating a hierarchy for location. So for location hierarchy, I'll select level based. I'll select these two options of skip level and drag level. I'll rename it as location. Now, if you see the columns that I have in my location dimension, I have country, city, area, state. So I'm going to create a hierarchy accordingly. So under the total, let me add a label as country. And I'll select the primary key as country only. I'll keep the display key also as country and my associated column as country. Then under the country, I'll add another label and I'll name it as state. My primary key is state. Display key, I'm keeping the same thing, and the associated column, I'm keeping the same thing. It is not necessary to keep all these things as same. Just because I don't have any other columns in my dimension, I'm basically keeping the display key, primary key, and associated column the same. So under state, I'm creating another level as city. My bad. I'm selecting primary key as city, associated columns city. Inside city, I have area. My primary key is area and associated column is area as well. And rest of the columns will be tagged to the detail level. Okay. Let me save this one. The moment it is saved, if you see under dim location in your logical layer, you see a location hierarchy created. If I expand it, the top level is total, under it country, state, city, area. So that is how my hierarchy is created. I'll close the additional tabs on the right hand side. Let's create a hierarchy for product. And I'll keep the setup as it is. I'm only going to rename it as product. And I'm going to verify whether the detail level is capturing all the required columns or not. I'll change the display key to product code, and it has all the associated columns. So I'm saving it. Okay. Now the next thing what we do is we assign this hierarchy level to your fact dimension at the LTS level. So I'm clicking on fact cells, and I'm going to sources, and if you see this option over here, detail view, I'm going to click on detail view. In the detail view, if you have multiple LTS, you can decide the priority like we do in the in our OBI RPD as well. Right now, because I don't have multiple LTS, I'm not setting up the priority. If you want to, you can set it as well. Then the thing is data granularity. This is where we assign the level that we have created in our hierarchy for the dimensions. So let me add it. For the dim customer, it has automatically selected the lowest level. If you want to change it, you can change it. Similarly, for location, it has selected detail. And the last one is product. So the tool automatically detects how many dimensions and how many hierarchies I have created, and it automatically maps the lowest level. If you want any setting to be created for data is fragmented. If you want to do any kind of data fragmentation, you can do it here. If you want to apply some filter at the fact level, you can do it over here. Like for example, it could happen that over a period of time, your fact sales or your sales fact has huge number of data. Like the data could be there for 15-20 years, whereas from the reporting perspective, you might not need the data for those 15-20 years. You might need data only for 5 years. So that way, in such situation, what you can do, you can apply a filter over here. What it will do is it will apply this filter into the physical query, and only that particular data set is created. It will also improve the performance of your query when the report is fired from the UI. Okay, so this is I have done this granularity I have done. In the data filter tab, if you want to apply any data filter, you will apply it over here. Okay, so this is done. Let me save my semantic modeler. With this, all the setup that we need to do in the logical layer is done. Of course, it will vary depending on the requirement to requirement, but this is at a very high level the generic setup that we do in the logical layer. Moving on to the presentation layer, I'll create a subject area. I'll name it as sales, and it is automatically detecting what business model I have to pick it up from. If you have multiple business model, it will come in the drop down and you can select the appropriate one. I'm clicking OK. So if you see in the presentation layer, it has automatically created a subject area. Now I have to add the tables. So I'm adding the tables from here. I'll select all the tables and click on select. So if you see, all the dimension and fact tables are created in the presentation layer. Okay, so save option is disabled now. That is okay. Now the next thing we will do is, so our presentation layer is complete now. If you want to set up any permissions, generally what we do in the presentation layer, if there are any application level restriction that you want to apply, those kind of permissions, you can do it over here in the presentation layer. Now, last thing is checking the consistency. So I'm checking consistency for errors and warnings. Okay, so what it is giving me one error, label city has a logical column area that does not belong to the current level. Okay, so what we will do is, let's go back to my logical layer, and it says logical table dim location. So let's click on, let me close all the unwanted folders from here, creating dim location, hierarchy, and it is saying label city. Okay, so let's go to city. Okay, so this display area it is talking about, I will replace it with city. Let me save it. I'm closing this consistency tracker, and what I will do is in the presentation layer, let's not drag it. Let's check the consistency like that only. I want to see whether it is reflecting automatically or not. Okay, great. So now we do not have any errors. We do not have any warnings as it is evident from here. That means our uh, semantic modeler or the modeling that we have done in semantic modeler is clean. Now, once this is done, the next step is to deploy this content or deploy this semantic modeler. The way we deploy the RPD in OAC or OAS. For that, you click on this page menu and click on deploy. It will deploy the semantic model. Once this is done, so see right now the option is grayed out or option is disabled. So let's go back and see whether it shows anything or not. Okay, so this is showing as it is deployed. Let me see whether it is okay. So now it is this shows that it is deployed now. What it means is you can now go and start creating or building your report from this sales semantic model or a sales subject area. Let's see whether it is visible in a workbook. I'm going to create workbook, and I will have to create a data set. In the data set, let's see whether that option comes or not. Local subject area. Okay, so right now it is still not enabled. So let's wait for some time and then try to create a report again from that sales subject area or the sales folder that we have deployed as part of the semantic modeler. So as it is going to take a bit of time, I'm going to pause this video right now, and once the subject area is visible, we will see whether we can create the report or not. Okay, so as you can see now, the semantic model is deployed successfully. Although it is showing 58 seconds here, for me it took at least close to 2 minutes. Not sure why it is not reflecting correct time here. But anyway, I'm closing this now. And once it is deployed, I'm going to click on create workbook, and I'm selecting this sales, add to workbook. And as you can see, the subject area is visible now. Let me see if some output comes out of it. Okay, so the sales amount is visible. So what this tells is, let me drag one of the customer. Okay, so because the underlying data in my database table is dummy, it is giving you some random output. But basically what you can verify from this is whatever you have developed in your semantic model is successfully deployed and the data is visible on the front end. So this is how you can build a semantic model, and whatever you can do in your RPD, the same can be done in this UI-based tool we have just discussed. Hope you have found this video interesting. If you have any questions around the semantic modeler, please drop them in the comment section. Thank you so much.